Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Herd App Media Network.
Holy, it's a Monday. Thanks for tuning into our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live today. Every Monday and Friday we do it. And thank you guys for emailing us. You can do that at hey@patandjt.com or it's Pat and JT on all socials.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of looking through the stories and things that were going on over the weekend. And honestly, I think this is going to be the one that affects the most people, is the fact that in Omaha, they're getting ready to open up the swimming pools. And they said 2/3 of them can't open for the first half of the summer because there's a lifeguard shortage.
People just don't want to work.
This is crazy.
It is crazy, especially when how much what minimum wage is. I mean, they got to pay that, so that's good money. What are you kidding
and you
me?
get to just sit in the sun for the moment. Granted, you have to be aware and alert, but
yeah, it's a little more in depth of a job.
I know a little more than that, but
yeah,
for the most part,
and you have to be kind of brave.
For most lifeguards, I think it involves a suntan. For most lifeguards, I don't know. I'm just curious if you were ever were you ever a lifeguard?
No. No one would if I had been on the perch there at the Valley Pool during the summer, they'd have been like, "There's no way that guy, he's not jumping anywhere to save anybody."
I'm trying to think. I never going to the pool was kind of rare when I was a kid. Didn't really go. There was the city pool, and then there was the pool at the country club, and on occasion. And I do know several people that work. We said Clay Anderson, I know, was a lifeguard at one point. He's talked about that.
Shocker, yeah.
Right? Of course he was.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been a lifeguard at a pool, have you had to save someone?
Ooh.
I'm just kind of curious what the
drop in the comments if you have. That's
right.
Good question.
I would love to hear it because I know this isn't going to be like an official poll, scientific poll, but I'm just kind of curious because I think for a lot of lifeguards, it involves showing up and sitting in the sun and maybe blowing your whistle to stop the horseplay.
Yeah. No running.
No running.
Mm-hmm.
Stop dunking her. Get off the little kid, that kind of thing. No,
that police.
You can't throw them in the pool, that kind of stuff. But I'm just kind of curious about if you've saved somebody. I'd be interested to see, because this is ridiculous. They literally, according to this story, they have 15 locations. That means 10 of the pools will only open for half of the 9-week season.
What? That's insane.
10 of the pools.
This is like an algebra problem.
It is. It's 2/3. What? Wait. Yeah. So 10 of the pools can only open for half of the 9-week season because they don't have enough lifeguards. And it also is disrupting other pool operations as well. Just the day-to-day management.
That's weird though. Like, why all of a sudden in the middle of the summer are they going to have enough? Do they have to go through training? Like they're not trained now. They can't.
I don't know. Unless some people can't start until later in the season or some other things going on. I don't even know when the pool's open for sure. It's not that far away though. I know that. But I just I
hated going to the pool when I was younger. I don't know. I don't know why. I know it was because I was fat. And I know. But I know why. But still, when I go into a pool, like an outdoor pool like that, and I go through the locker room and it's the wet and the smell, it just like throws me right back to fat kid, and it's just like it's just a weird feeling.
Well, it was always, I hated the locker rooms. I'm not going to change my clothes when I get there. It's like I will come with my swimsuit on and I will leave wrapped in a towel and wet. I'm not going to be changing clothes.
No, I'm not going to the club. I'm going to go home.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any of that. There was no hanging out in the locker or taking a shower after you get done with the, at the pool. Or
I did do that because I would itch, like I would itch from the chlorine.
Oh,
but yeah, I was
drying your skin out.
Yeah.
You're sensitive.
I know. I was very sensitive. Very sensitive. I would never shower. Like they want you to rinse when you get in, before you get in. I mean, that's stupid.
There's chlorine. That's why there's chlorine.
You're jumping into pee.
Right? Isn't that why there's chlorine?
That's why there's chlorine. Yeah.
Just guessing. So, So anyway, so there was that story. And then another local story, which I don't know how I missed this when this first embarked, but apparently all of March and now all through April. If you go to visitomaha.com, they have a dining pass. We should have asked Dan about this, Dan Hoppin.
Oh yeah.
Dang it. But they have several venues that are taking part in this, several different restaurants. And with the dining pass, then you can go to each location and you have different rewards. And it might be like at one, you get a free dip. At one, you get so much off for spending so much. One, you get a free appetizer with an entree. Buy one, get one free at somewhere else. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of really cool things. So if you get a chance on Visit Omaha, you can check that out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yes. Let's see here. And what else? Oh, well, the Grammys happened this weekend, and I feel like I'm so disconnected from this stuff. I saw some stuff coming on Twitter, and it really, the majority of it was people trying to cause a firestorm because a couple of events happened. One of them that happened was somebody won, Louis C.K. won a Grammy. And just part of the tweet was, Louis C.K. just won a whole ass Grammy while y'all are calling for Will Smith's head or crying about cancel culture. And I'm like, okay, Louis C.K. basically did get canceled for a couple, 3 years. He had to cancel his tour. He canceled his TV shows. I mean, everything was canceled. And what he did was wrong. He did apologize, I do believe, but regardless, he did win an award. But my favorite response to that tweet was somebody who said, "What's a whole ass Grammy?" I'm like,
what's a whole ass Grammy?
And then another one popped up that said, "Chris Brown has entered the chat." Oh,
yeah.
Oh, ooh. And they went on to point out that Chris Brown, after his event with Rihanna, he went on, and you remember there were pictures of her. And he went on to be nominated 15 more times and win 3 times.
Looking back on it, that's absolutely terrible that nothing more was done at that time.
Right?
From that respect. Yeah, that's awful.
Was that okay, was it Good Morning America?
Where he went on when I think it was
and like threw a chair through a window or something?
Yeah, it was GMA. He cracked, or Regis and or Kelly and Ryan. There was one of those shows. I think it was GMA though.
There was a lot going on at that time. And there was no mention of cancel. And I don't know that
cancel culture. That was just like that was before all this hit, the cancel culture.
And it was obviously before Me Too.
Yeah. It was, because time goes by so fast, but I think it was like 10 years ago. Like it seems like it's been a minute. Maybe not that long ago, but it's been a while.
Yeah. That's just Chris Brown. And the thing with God, there's too many of them. There's too many of them. You think about other events that have happened and people have come back, that second chance thing, right?
Yeah.
They always seem to repair their image and be able to come back around right back into it. Will Smith right now made the what's the one I want to say? He made the
gesture.
Yeah, yes, we'll call it that, to resign from the Academy. And so I declare I will resign from the Academy and give up my membership. And so I thought, well, what does that mean? If you resign from the Academy, it means he can no longer vote on the movies. And he can't see free movies anymore.
So that's what that was his, what's it, mea culpa? Is that what it is? That proper?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'm giving this up. And for all of us, we don't have, if you're not looking it up like you did, to me, that seems like a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. You're not gonna be able to go to any of the award ceremonies anymore. Is this, and that has nothing to do with it.
No, he can still go to the ceremonies. He gets to keep his Oscars. He can still get invited to future ceremonies, and he can still be nominated. I mean, there are others that are probably worse than what had happened here, that have continued to be members of the Academy and have continued to be considered. So basically it says that it may be elite, but instead of their $250 in annual dues, there won't be an ID card. He won't get the newsletter, and he doesn't get the free screenings. He doesn't have special access to the library, and there are also some receptions. But they did say that this is not a networking thing. This is just a hoity-toity thing that people show up for. And
he just gave a douchey thing back. Like he just gave a douchey thing back, which means nothing.
When I guarantee you that every one of those receptions, when there was one on the calendar, it was like, fuck, I don't want to go. Why
he
do we
never
have to
went.
go?
I bet if we could go back and look at the log, I bet him and Jada never went to those.
Or it was just like slide in, slide out.
I'm giving up my Planet Fitness membership. Well, okay, awesome. I haven't graced that
Darken the doorstep.
No, that's it. I did. I'm done. I'm not going to work out anymore. Planet Fitness, you are done. They don't get my $10 anymore. I never went. Big deal.
It's essentially
exactly what it is.
That's what it is. So, but probably a bigger hit for him is that Netflix is backing away from one of his films. It's called Fast and Loose. And oddly, in a stroke of unbelievable good timing, the director for that movie withdrew of this planned feature called Fast and Loose starring Will Smith. And that was a week ago, before the Oscars. Meaning a week before the Oscars. He had stepped away and he moved into another movie called Fall Guy, which stars Ryan Gosling. And it's going to start production in August. So Netflix was competing with Universal to be the next project for this director. And Universal obviously won. So now Netflix is looking for another director to take over the project. They started looking the week before the Oscars. And soon after the Oscars, Netflix quietly moved that project to the back burner.
Yeah.
And just so you know what it's about, it sounds like it could be kind of interesting, though, of course, because he's Will Smith and he gets the good scripts. And it's the story of a crime boss that loses his memory after an attack. Piecing together the clues, he discovers he has a double identity. He's both a wealthy kingpin and a broke CIA agent.
Wow, that's a lot.
So don't expect to see that one anytime real soon, unless they find someone else to put in the lead on that one. And then another one also talking about him giving up his membership in the Academy of Motion Arts or Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Yes, that's what it is. Somebody said, if Will wanted to defend his wife, he could have taken the stage and said, I know it's a joke, but come on. She has an autoimmune disorder. And he could have called Chris Rock out and educated everybody at the same time. I'm like, ooh, but in the heat of the moment, that wasn't what he was wanting, right? He was wanting his pound of flesh.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been that subtle, understated.
You would have to have been able to think on his feet. And he was not in a position or not in a mental state to think on his feet.
And another one said, sitting in the front row of the Oscars and not expecting to get roasted is like sitting in the front row of SeaWorld and expecting not to get wet.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
But I thought there was some good takes. Of course, people are Monday morning quarterbacking, as far as what you should have been. That's what I do. You know what you should have done. That's what I do.
That's your book.
That's
353 is Will Smith. You should have done Will Smith.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
But another couple things that did happen this weekend that I think are probably worth more of a mention, and there are two of them. One of them being that Bill Freeze passed away on Friday, and Bill Freeze, but then again, you may know after this weekend because you probably saw stuff on social media. He was C.W. McCall. And he was behind the whole ad campaign that was put together. And I think that he worked at Bozell and Jacobs, as a matter of fact, in the 70s. And prior to that, little tidbit, he worked at Channel 3, and my mom worked at Channel 3 at the same time. She was running the switchboard.
Fancy. That's pretty cool.
She said he was quite the graphic design artist. Like he was really good with that kind of stuff. And she remembers him sending something to. It was a doctor, like he was sending, audio tape or what, who knows what it was, something that he was sending to a doctor. But he also had a little caricature of a side of a saw and a bone, like a sawbone, right? And he was a doctor, right? And he had drawn this funny cartoon thing on the front of the box. She remembers that. But anyway, But I thought it was kind of interesting. I was looking through some of the stuff in C.W. McCall and Convoy. And it became a #1 song across the country in the mid-'70s, both pop and country, which it happens every once in a while. But the funny part is Chip Davis was behind the music. And,
I knew that.
And Chip Davis at the time, he'd worked with him on some other projects as well. This was right before the whole Mannheim Steamroller movement, because he was trying to get somebody to jump on Mannheim Steamroller, and none of the labels would take it. And that's why they ended up doing his own label, American Gramophone, because nobody would jump on this boat.
They missed out. All the labels missed out.
Crap.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. So he had worked with Chip Davis before, and he worked with him on this song, and the C.W. McCall was the lead character in and actually it was like the whole ad series. You had C.W. McCall and Mavis, and oh God, I can't remember the dog's name. Sloan.
Okay.
And was it Sloan? God, I don't know. Somebody help me out. Anyway, but it's kind of interesting because that caught on, just the whole Old Home Filler Up and Keep on a Truckin' Cafe, which was for Old Home Bread, which was Met's Baking Company here in Omaha. And it was based in Iowa. Like he had the truck stop in Pisgah, and and he was hauling, doing his stuff, and he'd stop at the truck stop to see Mavis, and there was this little romance going on. And before you know it, then you had C.W. McCall about the time the CB radio craze was going on in the 70s. And that's what he wrote the song for, was there was no like, they weren't like trying to get from one side of the country to the other because they were going to save something. It was just this whole CB radio craze, and they created a convoy, and they were going from Shaky Town, which was LA, to the East Coast. And so away they went, and it tells the story of them going across the country and let them truckers roll 10-4.
Actually a genius marketing campaign. Genius.
It all came out of that. And so here's the kicker, though. This was kind of funny. Well, there are several kickers, but they did that song. So the whole thing, it ends up winning a Clio Award for ads, #1. But Davis was also, Chip Davis was named Country Music Writer of the Year in '76. He hates country music.
Well, did he get? So he got a whole ass Grammy.
He got a whole ass Grammy, I think, or a whole ass something. I don't know. CMA
whatever.
Award. A whole ass CMA award. But they said that even before this whole C.W. McCall, this whole deal, Chip Davis had produced a whole album of classical music that was performed entirely by the musical collaborator Chip Davis, and then a couple of keyboardists and all this other stuff. They were so close to having Mannheim Steamroller, and they put this out right before Mannheim Steamroller hit. So really, I'm guessing that Bozell and Jacobs got a hell of a deal on Chip Davis performing that music and doing all that stuff, because Chip Davis wasn't the Chip Davis at the time.
Little Chip Davis.
He was little Chip. He was a little Chip. And then he had Mannheim Steamroller and Fresh Air came out, and boom. Yeah. It's kind of a neat story. So anyway, he passed away. He was 93. He lived in a little town in Colorado. He'd been mayor there like for 6 years. It was kind of cool. The other one that caught my eye also was Estelle Harris.
I thought she was already gone. When I saw that this morning, I thought she had already passed a number of years ago.
Yeah. Estelle Harris, also known as Estelle Costanza and Mrs. Potato Head.
Yeah.
On Toy Story. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I didn't
she
realize she did. The story I saw this morning was that she was considered like the commercial queen or something, because back in the 80s, 90s, whatever, she was on at one time, she was on like 15 or 20 different national running commercials, from like cereal to laundry soap to all this stuff. Well,
she has that. I mean, she has that no nonsense look on her face. You know,
and
how, and the voice.
Yeah, like you could be in the other room and hear it on TV and be like, you would know exactly who it was.
And Jason Alexander had posted, one of my favorite people has passed, my TV mama. The joy of playing with her and relishing her glorious laughter was a treat. Serenity now and always. Love to your family. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is sweet.
Yeah. So that's kind of a rundown of what happened. What?
Yeah. It was just a weekend. The weekend was just a kind of a blur, you know.
What are you watching? Anything? Is there anything on TV? Are you guys binging anything or what?
No, not really. I don't even remember what we did yesterday. We went down to Lincoln and had some cocktails with some friends. I don't. What did we do Saturday? Costco and watch basketball.
I went to Costco for a hot minute Sunday.
I think it's
11 o'clock on a Sunday.
Oh, it's don't do that. We don't go because I'm assuming you went to the one on Dodge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that one
only because I was right by it and I was like, okay, I'm going to swing through.
The parking lot is absolutely triggering.
It's terrible. And actually, the one down south isn't that much better.
It's not. If for some reason, like the vibe in that one, like it's just it's just crazier to me. The parking lot seems crazier. The one out west, I don't know what it is. It just seems a little calmer. It's like the Walmart on 128th, whatever, and L in that little cluster F of a area. That Walmart, we will not go to Walmart ever if we had to go to that Walmart.
Oh my God, 110%. And I'm going to throw this in here too. Is the that parking lot? It's like there's one way in and no way out.
Yeah.
It's insane. You have to cross traffic, no matter which way you go. It seems you can, I guess, go out and head out to 120th. And then you have a light where you can turn right and come back.
That's
but
so
it is
inconvenient and so awful. Yeah, you're right. You can't, that between Home Depot and Target, like that little deal. I don't know who designed that, but it must have been like an intern at engineer college, because they got an F, because that is the most messed up little intersection thing. I don't know how there aren't more accidents there.
No, it is. And getting, if you're on L Street heading westbound, and then you decide you want to go 132nd Street north. So you've got to hit that little offshoot and some people don't, and they go to the light and then they go ahead and swing it. And it's just, there are 10,000 things that are,
we've had time, like
triggering.
I judge when my wife gets up, I judge the vibe of her. And then I suggest whether we are going to that Walmart or not. Cause if it's it could be one of those days. Cause she's actually driven through the parking lot before and we've been so frustrated. She's like, I'm not slowing down. Anybody gets in my way, it's over. And she just goes. I'm like,
that's a good time to bury your nose in your phone.
Right. Huh? What'd you say? Let's go to the Papillion one next time. Lot better.
Take a road trip.
Take
a road trip. Let's go across town. We'll go to Papillion. Speaking of road trips real quick, Tara, good morning. She says, my husband and I took an unplanned road trip this weekend and he requested to play your podcast on the drive.
What? That's awesome.
Thank you, Tara. Very cool.
Nice.
Good morning, Denise. She forgot we're on Monday mornings. That's okay. You can still catch it later. Good morning, Reagan. Good morning, Laura. Yes, we were just talking about Estelle. Yeah, that was sad too. I love when you guys jump in. Thank you so much. But yeah, so I think that's it.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of TV shows. I'm just going to throw them out there. Have you watched the thing about Pam?
No, it's on our DVR.
Renee Zellweger. When I first started watching it, I didn't know that she was in that. I didn't know who was in it. I just read something about it just in passing. And I'm like, who? And I looked it up. I was like, no way.
Yeah, she looks crazy good.
And she is hilarious. I mean, it doesn't look anything like her. And then Katie Mixon is also in that as well. She's been in a couple other things. You'll recognize her when you see her, but she plays, it's kind of like the Housewives, the old Housewives, right? The TV show when they had, she gets killed in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then she narrates, right? Or she's there. Anyway, it's kind of along those. Josh Duhamel also in it. And he plays just a smarmy character that turns out to have a heart of gold, which is hilarious. And another one, the girl from Plainville, which just started. And I didn't realize that it wasn't all out there. So I watched the first, 3 episodes and I have to wait a week. Liz says she refuses to go to Walmart on L or Target. Talk about a cluster F. Total.
We'll risk it for the biscuit on Target, but there's something if we have to go. But if we'll not go to that Walmart.
Even getting into Target you can't get into Target easily.
No, but like Target at least is like if we got to do it, we'll at least go to Target. But if we have to go to Walmart, we're going to Papillion, not going to that Walmart. And that one for some reason I don't know what it is, but it's probably just because I don't like that area and that area. But it always smells like a fart. Like right when you walk in, it's just like what?
It inside the store?
Yes, like right when you walk in. I don't know if it's the cart tires. I don't know what it is, but it just smells like.
I was going to say, well, maybe it's outside. It might be because there's so many different restaurants right there. Maybe there's a chemical, but if it's inside, that's not it.
Yeah, I think it's somebody farted.
Not a reaction, it's something else. Okay. Other than that, I will say Centris Federal Credit Union, thank you so much for being our sponsor, and thank you so much for being our partner for 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you want to know the difference between a home equity line of credit and a home equity line, a home equity loan? There is a difference, and there are reasons to do either one of them, and they can help you determine that if you're looking at doing some projects around the house or consolidating some bills or, whatever, what's your best option. And the neat thing is you can call them on a number that's a local number. that's a area code 402, not 800 or 888.
Right. And somebody that you talk to, you could go talk to them in person.
Yeah.
402-334-7000. But there's a ton of information on their blog, on their website too, centrusfcu.org. You can go check it out and read up on a ton of stuff before you call them, and then figure out which of those is better for you, a loan or a line of credit.
Yes, they can walk you all through that. And I just want to give you an update too on my move from the former bank to Centrus. So far, so good. No
Good.
hiccups.
Okay, that's awesome.
Everything's working just like they said it would.
Perfect. Well, that's good to know.
Boom.
Good to know
So
that we're
there
not
you go.
lying to everybody.
No, they're not.
So thank you guys. It's Pat and JT on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And 402-403-9478. You guys can text us, leave us a voicemail, whatever you want. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Huda Media Production.